Hi my loves, welcome back, welcome to my channel. Welcome if you guys are new. I cannot quite believe that I am about to sit down and film our mid-year book tag, because where has this year gone? I know I say it all the time, but truly, how are we already halfway through the year? Halfway through the reading year. That is absolutely crazy. Anyway, must say though, I do love filming like mid-year content. I love wrapping up the mid-year, just kind of like resetting, seeing what was good, seeing what maybe didn't live up to expectations, everything like that. So that is exactly what we're going to be doing today. I have a bunch of questions I'm going to answer that I feel like really do summarize my reading year so far. Feel free to use them below. I did get them from the beautiful Larry. She posted this the other day and I was like, how are we already at that time of the year? So I am using her questions, but I'll leave them below in case you want to use them as well. I feel like this is going to be a chatty video, so without me rambling anymore, let's just jump into it. Okay, starting out nice and simple. We have the best book I have read so far in 2026. I did think long and hard about this one, but at the end of the day, there is one book that has stuck in my mind ever since I read it, and I truly find myself thinking about it at random points of the day, and I'm just like, you know, my day will be going well and then I'll just think of this book and I'll just become an emotional mess. I don't know if that's considered a good thing, but I do think it's considered a book having a very big impact on me, and therefore I think it has to be the best book of the year so far. That is none other than Jade Legacy by Fonda Lee. If you guessed it, well done. I feel like it wasn't too hard to guess if you know me well, but this book truly has changed my life. Like, these characters have changed my life. If for some reason you don't know what this book is, it is the third book in the Greenbone saga, the final book in the trilogy. This book takes place over like 11 years, so it is just such a different fantasy to anything I've read before. I would say this is an urban fantasy, and since I read this series, I truly have not shut up about it, and I'm like, I would be sorry about it, but I'm not going to shut up about it until everyone has read it, because this has made such an emotional impact on me. If you don't know what this book is about, or this series is about, I'll give you a very, very quick synopsis. Basically, we set in the city of Janloon, where there are people called Greenbones who have the ability to weld jade, and jade basically gives you the ability to be stronger, smarter, just enhances a power. We're following two prime clans in this city, one of them being the Carl family. Such an epic journey, guys. It really is. Fonda Lee has a way of writing that you never know what's going to happen next. You are on the edge of your seat the entire time. You get so emotionally connected to your characters. Truly, sometimes you love them, sometimes you hate them. It's a little bit of a gamble, but I have never felt so connected and so conflicted about characters before reading this book. So I feel like it had to take the best book of the year so far. Following on from that, we have the worst read of 2026 so far. To be honest, I haven't had a lot of like truly terrible reads that I'm left going, what did I just read? I wish I never read that. I feel like I've gotten to know my taste in books and in genres pretty well, so I typically will avoid anything that I know is not my cup of tea, and I feel like that makes me have a better general reading experience. However, I think the lowest rated book of the year so far has to be The Dinner Party by Frey McFadden. I don't even know if you can call this a book. It is like a collection of choose your own adventure stories, and to be honest, wasn't even that bad a time. I did give it a 2.75, but overall it was just so ridiculous that you couldn't help just like laughing out loud at it. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully it does, but like I truly was just, I could not contain myself. You were the protagonist. It is written in second person, and it's like, you do this, you do that. So you're the protagonist of a thriller story, and you get to make up the protagonist's mind. So I'm sure you've read a choose your own adventure at some point in your life. Very much that. It was actually quite nostalgic, but some of the endings were the most bizarre, random things I could ever have thought of. It was satire, okay? Like, this is truly satire. I think if I went in knowing that, probably would have had a better experience. But like, truly one of the most random books I have ever read in my entire life. I was left just staring at the wall after I finished it. And I did read all the different endings because I'm someone who does that. I don't know if there's anyone who actually just reads one ending, because it would be over in like 20 pages, maybe a bit more, but you know, it was a really, really small book. I don't know. Probably wouldn't recommend it, but then again, if you just want to like almost just die from laughter because it's so ridiculous, then yeah, sure, go pick it up. Before we jump into the next question, I did want to give a thank you to today's sponsor, and that is Brevo. So Brevo is an all-in-one marketing and sales platform designed to help businesses grow through smarter customer relationships. Brevo is basically one affordable tool combining email marketing, SMS messaging, and marketing automation. So it makes it super easy for small businesses to build a stronger relationship relationship with their customers. And Brevo aims to help businesses grow smarter with powerful, accessible marketing tools. Just some of the ways Brevo can help you build your business is the fact that it helps you save so much time with its easy to use automation features for marketing and sales. So it really reduces the amount of repetitive tasks that you have to do just to connect to your customers, and you don't need to be trying to juggle multiple solutions. It also uniquely combines email marketing, SMS, chat, CRM, and automation in a single interface. So you don't need to be adding on any subscriptions or anything like that. Something I think is really valuable, especially for smaller businesses, is the transparent pricing models. So basically, Brevo charges off emails sent, not contact list sizes. So that makes it more affordable and more predictable for your business to grow. There is also so many feature-rich tools included in Brevo, including but not limited to advanced segmentation, marketing automation, transactional emails, landing pages, and even detailed analytics, so you can understand your consumers better. Brevo is also a European company, which means they are dedicated and committed to data privacy and security standards. Compared to a lot of other email marketing services, Brevo is so much more accessible, includes so much more in just the one platform. So for businesses that want to grow and continue to build relationships with your customers, Brevo is a really great way to support that. If you want to check out Brevo, you can use my link in the bio and also use my code on screen, which is a special offer for my audience. Really great if you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, or a freelancer. It's also a really great way to support this channel, but thank you so much, Brevo, for sponsoring this portion of today's video. All the information will be linked down below, and thanks for supporting our channel. Okay, let's get on with the mid-year book tag. So next question is the best sequel you've read so far in 2026. This is actually a really recent one for me, and that is The Ballad of Falling Dragons by Sarah A. Parker. I was pleasantly surprised with this. I actually loved this one. I thought it was so well done. I am so glad Sarah Parker really took her time in writing this one. Like, we had the release date pushed back multiple times, and I think it was great that it was, because honestly, this lived up to my expectations. I thought it was really great. I did do a reread of When the Moon Hatched before I jumped into this one. I'm so glad I did, to be completely honest. I'm not sure I would have remembered all the tiny details that I think were necessary to remember jumping into this one. I just feel like these are quite complicated plots. For a fantasy romance, like, they're quite complicated. So I was really happy with this one. I thought it was lived up to every expectation I had. Now, this wasn't a 5-star read for me, but it was like a 4.5. Like, it was ridiculously good. I really enjoyed it. I didn't cry, which makes me feel a little bit like a monster. I'm like, I saw everyone else crying over it. I should have been as well, but I just haven't been crying lately in books. I don't know what it is. I really don't know. Anyway, I still loved it all the same. I think Sarah A. Parker is such a talented author. I think the way she writes is so incredibly lyrical, flowery, and immersive. Like, it just creates such strong images in your mind. Like, you cannot ignore them. So love her for that. But yeah, I thought this was beautifully done. I loved it. The next question was actually the worst sequel I've read. And to be completely honest, I don't have an answer. I really haven't read that many sequels this year, and the ones I have read have been pretty good. So I can't really say that there's one that really stands out as the worst. And I kind of feel bad like titling something as the worst, even if it was just like a lower rating. So yeah, I don't really have an answer for that one. I'm sorry. Okay, a new release I haven't read yet. I feel like there are so many. I'm trying to keep up with them all. It's really hard. But one that I definitely want to get to quite soon is Light Wielder. This is the second book to Metal Slinger. And if you've read Metal Slinger, you know that we ended on quite the cliffhanger. I'm just curious to see where we're going to go from here on, to be completely honest. And I've also been seeing very mixed reviews on this one. Lots of people not loving it. I'm a little bit nervous I'm going to be one of those people. I feel like I didn't hate Metal Slinger by any means. I really enjoyed it. But to me, it was just like a really fun romancy read. So I don't think I'm going to go in to Light Wielder with expectations that are like through this roof, but I do just kind of want some explanations on what happened at the end of that book, on how that was happening, because I was blindsided, to be completely honest. Like, I think a reread of this would be very interesting, to be completely honest, but I don't think I'm gonna commit too much time to that, just because it wasn't like my favorite book of all time. It wasn't When the Moon Hatched. Anyway, I think that would probably be my most anticipated one that I like really want to get to soon. Abby Jimenez, The Night We Met. Her newest release is also out that I still haven't gotten to. Again, I've been put off this one just because I've seen people say, not that it's bad, just that it's not the best thing they've ever read, like, and not their favorite Abby Jimenez book. So I'm kind of a little put off that one as well. I'm letting people's opinions determine what I'm excited about though, which is not great. Most anticipated release for the next half of the year. Oh guys, there are so many. There are so many. I feel like I'm gonna have to say, I want to say Burn of the Everflame. Now this one is super anticipated for me because I personally loved the Kindred's Curse saga, and I have been waiting for this book so bad. It has been a hard waiting game. And I am just finally like so excited that that is releasing this year. That's kind of on the same level as The Ballad of Falling Dragons for me. Like, I just feel like I have been anticipating this book for such a long time, and it's hopefully the day is finally coming soon that I can actually read that one. I just have so many questions for that series. I think this is the final book. I think it's a quartet, and the last book was like insane. I have no idea how long this one's. The birds are saying hi. I have no idea how long this one is planned to be. There are so many releases coming up. I'm so excited about the Six of Crows novella. That comes out really, really soon. I'm really excited about The Knave and the... Okay, I'm not listing every release, I promise, but I'm really excited about that one as well. That's a Rachel Gillig book following on from Night and the Moth. So guys, there's so many. I feel like we talk about this on the podcast all the time, but October, September, that kind of time of the year, so many book releases. Like, we are going to be back to back to back to back with book releases. It's going to be so overwhelming. There's not going to be a TBR for that month. We're just going to be reading new releases. Biggest surprise of the year so far. I feel like this one was a pretty easy one for me to narrow down, and that has to be The Ragpicker King by Cassandra Clare. So this is the second book to Swordcatcher. I obviously love Cassandra Clare. If you know me at all, you know how much I love her. I think she's such a talented author. I was obsessed with her books. Like, they were the kind of one of the books that got me into fantasy. So always will have a special place in my heart for her. And Swordcatcher was the first book in her new adult fantasy series set in an entirely different world to the Shadowhunters, and I was really excited about it. I read it when it came out and I was kind of like, yeah, this is good. It's a lot of like lore and a lot of politics, and we're just kind of setting up the world, to be completely honest. So I wasn't like blown away by it by any means. So I think that lowered my expectations going into The Ragpicker King, and I was kind of ready to just see what it was like. I went in just really mild about it, like had no real excitement. Guys, this was probably, if I wasn't going to pick Ballad of Falling Dragons for the best sequel, this would be a quick follow-up, because this was truly the most surprising read I had. I had the best time over this. Not only was I getting giddy over the romance lines, plural, both of them are so good. I was, not only giddy over them, but the actual plot picked up so much. The first book was lore. It was world building. It was politics. I get that now. That book walked so Ragpicker King could run. And the plot points in this was so good. I'm hoping everyone had the same experience reading this, because personally, I don't want to like oversell it to you in case the main reason I enjoyed it so much was because I went in with such little expectations. Like, I don't want to do that to you. But I am hoping that you have a similar experience to me, because this truly blew it out of the park for me. I just feel like everything came together so well. I am so curious to see where this series is going to go. I love our characters so much. I haven't even said what this is about. I'm so sorry. But basically, we are following our protagonist, Kel, in the first one. He is a sword catcher for the prince, which basically means like this body double. He kind of steps in whenever the prince may be in danger, but still needs to be seen in a public setting. So like a ball or something, but maybe an attack has been planned on him, Kel will step in. But over this time, they've kind of created a really strong bond. We are also following, I always forget this girl's name. See, the reason I get really mixed up with these names is because Kel is in Dark Shed Magic and Kel and Delilah are in Dark Shed Magic. I'm finding her name. This really, really annoys me when I forget her name all the time. Lynn. I'm going to remember that now. Lynn is a healer, and these two characters' paths intertwine. We also have so many side characters that really played a stronger role in the later book, which I was so happy about because I loved them so much. But yeah, this one really just blew it out of the park for me. I was not expecting to be so obsessed and just be so like giddy over it. I wasn't expecting to be giddy. It takes a lot for me to get giddy over a book. The next question is new favorite author to you, or new debut author, just an author I haven't read before this year. Do you know what, guys? I hadn't read a Fonda Lee book before this year, and I know I talked about her earlier, but I have to say again, Fonda Lee, because I also recently read The Last Contract of Isako, and I read that in a reading vlog and was like absolutely obsessed with it. That could be another like book that I wasn't expecting to love as much as I did. Like, that kind of exceeded my expectations as well. I loved that book so much. And just Fonda Lee, the way she writes some of the strongest characters I have ever read in a book. She has incredible worlds as well, don't get me wrong, but it takes a lot for me to connect to characters. And if I can connect to a character, then that book is going to be like a 4 stars and above, or I'm going to be crying over it, or I'm going to be thinking about these characters at random parts of my day. But it does take quite a lot for me to really strongly connect with a character. And the only person who has done that 4 out of 4 times, 4 books I've read of hers, is Fonda Lee. She does it so incredibly well. I cannot explain the chokehold her characters have over me. I love spending time with them. I think they're always really interesting. They're really different. They're quite morally complex, a little bit morally gray. She also just explores character dynamics really well, and the worlds as well. They're incredible. Her writing as well, so immersive. Like, she has got to be my new favorite author that I've read this year. Okay, a new fictional crush. This one's a little bit hard for me because I don't typically fawn over book boyfriends. Like I, again, have really high expectations for book boyfriends, I feel like. I can't do a, like the black cat, golden retriever type situation. I can't do that. I don't like stereotypical characters. And I feel like a lot of the time book boyfriends do fall into that. So this one I had to really think about, but then I read a book recently and I do feel like this character had me kind of giddy. He definitely was like everything I'm intrigued by with a character, and I feel like that's what I like, but also they have to be quite charming. So it's Severin from The Wretch Divine. This is Adeline Grace's newest release. I actually got an art copy for this, which it releases in October, so it was a ridiculously early one, and I am so grateful for it, and I had the best time. My reading vlog for that is up, but it is basically a angel demon romance type thing. We are set in a world with angels and demons, and we are following our protagonist, who is a human. I think when you make your first kill, she is like a knight, she's a warrior, a soldier, and when you make your first kill, then you go on to bond with an angel and you get like their kind of powers that come along with that. Aurelie, our main protagonist, the people around her that are closest to her, like her father, start to turn into the ones she truly hates, demons. So the only way she finds to find a cure for this is to bond with a demon and an angel. I will say I thought this was going to be more, I guess it was a bit of a love triangle, but it wasn't done too bad. It wasn't too annoying. So I don't know if it will be more annoying in the later books, but personally, I really liked it. And Severin, his attitude, very charming, very witty, also like very morally grey. Like his kind of morals, I don't know if I agree with them, to be completely honest, but I just found myself like giggling over the words he would say. And I feel like the chemistry between those two was just so raw and magnetic, and it felt like, I don't know, it gave you like shivers when you were thinking about them. So I feel like that's what constitutes a fictional crush for me. I just am not usually intrigued in characters that much. Like, I don't know, I don't really think of like my fictional crushes. I guess I have characters that I love, but I never think of them as crushes. I don't know, is that weird? Is that just me? I'm not sure. A book that made me cry. This is funny because I literally was just saying that I haven't been crying as much recently, but at the beginning of the year, I had so many books that made me bawl. I feel like the biggest one was probably Jade Legacy, but I have talked about that one. I truly though like could not control my emotions over that book. That's why it was the best book I've read. Another one that blew me away was The Bright Years by Sarah DeMoth. That was her debut novel as well, which is crazy. Another great author. Whew, it was quite short, but it really hit. It was short and powerful. I couldn't quite control myself when I was reading that one as well. It definitely hit hard, but I would highly recommend it. I do look up trigger warnings before you go into it because we are dealing with some very sensitive topics about like addiction, very complex couple dynamics. It is a hard read, but I also think it's a really important read because it talks about some really, really important issues. Also though, have never been so mad at a character than I was reading that book. I will say that. I was fuming by the end of that book, but totally fine. A book that made me happy. Let me grab it. One thing will always make me happy in books, and that is when you're reading a series and you're really deep into the series and all your characters start to, I want to say like overlap, but also just you start to see them make these big changes that you've been waiting for them to do the entire series. Or I don't know, just like, I can't explain it, but when you're in a certain setting and like your characters are all like doing their thing and they have such strong personalities and they're all chatting to each other, and I'm like, oh, I'm obsessed with this. That was the fact in Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. Not only was this one of the best books I've read, because the last 300 pages of this was some of the most intense writing I've ever read in my entire life. I could not stop thinking about it. I just felt like the character dynamics in this was amazing. It's really hard to hold up, guys. It's really heavy. But I think this wins for a book that made me happy, because truly I was just like giggling during this. And I can't explain it because you're like, this is a high political fantasy. Why are you like getting so happy and getting butterflies over this? I don't know. I think just because you know your characters so well by this point and you really get to know them even more in this book. Just after Words of Radiance, my love for these characters was just cemented, and I was just really happy to be with them again. I just was so happy reading this book. It was definitely a long one, but it didn't feel too long. Like Rhythm of War, I just read, that felt long. This one didn't feel too long. And I think because of the action towards the end, it was just so quick, so fast paced. I couldn't keep up with everything. Brandon Sanderson just really knows how to write a high fantasy. I also kind of feel like that there's a sense of achievement when you read a really big book. Like when you are getting through that book, seeing the progress you have made in such a thick book. Call me crazy, but that makes me really really, really happy. I feel like it's such a satisfying feeling. But that's why I will always read really long books in person, not like the physical. I will read the physical one. I will not be reading it on Kindle. And I know that's opposite to a lot of people. Most people prefer to read the Kindle book. I'm happy to hold it up. Although, if you saw my last reading vlog, a page did fall out of Rhythm of War because it was so thick. The next question was the prettiest book you have bought or received this year. Now, I don't really collect pretty books. I don't have a lot of room for them. I'm not going to buy a special edition book unless it's like one of my favorite books of all time. Yeah, I don't really collect pretty books, but I still think you can judge books by their covers. I think you can, just judge books in general. So I'm just going to show you some of my favorite covers I've gotten this year. I think the books that I would like save from a burning house, have you seen that trend? I think those books would be my ARC editions because my ARCs are always going to be my prettiest. So I think the prettiest ARC I've received this year would be Starside by Alex Astor. This has a literal 3D sword on it, which I think is so cool. It also has silver sprayed edges. It's a naked hardback, which says something about a naked hardback that I love. I just think it is so pretty, so eye-catching. I loved reading this. It's also just really special. It's number 11 of 50. So there are only 50 ARCs like this in the world, and I have one of them. So I don't know, it makes it feel a little bit more special, but honestly, objectively as well, to me, this is a really cool book. And I actually really liked it. I thought it was a really fun romantasy. So go read this if you want a really fun time with like every fantasy trope in it possible, but also in the best way possible. I don't know. I also have to say, I think the ones that really take the cake are my Book of the Month books. Jamie, the best person in the world, sent me 2 Book of the Month books. We can't get them in Australia. I will literally celebrate the day we can finally have a Book of the Month subscription in Australia, but for now, that is not a thing. But they do have like their own little tag thing at the top. I don't know why that's so satisfying to me. I also just love hardcovers, and hardcovers are definitely a lot harder to come by in Australia. We typically get the paperback first and then move on from there, which I know is opposite for a lot of people, but I love hardcovers. And so this is A Song to Drowned Rivers. We do have gold accents on there as well, which I think are gorgeous. Just a really gorgeous cover. The minimalist covers I'm obsessed with. And then also Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. Hang on. There we go. This one's a bit thicker, this cover, to be honest. I really, really liked this cover almost a little bit more than the UK cover. I just think it's stunning. And like, I don't know what it is, but a hardcover will always have my heart. I would always prefer to read a hardcover book than a soft paperback book. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because you want what you can't have. I'm not sure. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? I have so many that I am like dying to get to by the end of the year. Number 1 is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. I love V. Schwab. Everything I've read by her has been incredible. I know that I'm gonna love this book. I know that it's so many people's favorites by her. I really need to get to it. It's, from what I know, it's like a vampire, dark academia type book. I know I'm gonna have a great time because V. Schwab is an incredible writer. So that one is super, super high up on my priority list. Also just one that I've been meaning to get to for ages. I just haven't bought it yet because I was working my way through her other backlog, and then I read Fragile Threads of Power, and I don't know. It's been a hard journey, okay? I don't know why I haven't read it yet though. The Winners by Frederick Backman. This is the 3rd book in the Beartown series. I just need to finish this series by the end of the year. It's really broken my heart though. Every time I've read a book by him, it's really like shattered my heart into that's another book I could have said about crying. I bawled my eyes out in Us Against You. I really did. So The Winners is really high up there. To be honest, I would love to get to My Friends as well by Frederick Backman. I have heard only incredible things about My Friends. I know that's going to break my heart into a million little pieces, but also I've heard it's like a happy break your heart. I think we're following every summer of our protagonist, and it's like all about living summer to the fullest, like, and you used to count your years in summers because that was like when you had your school break and everything like that. And I think that's a really sweet idea. So I do really want to get to that one soon. The Book Thief is one that if I do not read by the end of this year, I will be so disappointed in myself. The Book Thief is just a book that I think every single person needs to read at least once in their lifetime. And the fact that I haven't, it makes me question whether I can call myself a reader, if I'm going to be completely honest. I know that this book is going to break my soul in half. And that is, again, why I haven't read it yet. But yeah, those are all the questions that we had for today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you had fun. This was just a fun little way to do a mid-year check-in, but I will be doing a lot more very, very soon. You'll be seeing a lot more mid-year content coming. I hope you're excited. I'm excited. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video. It truly means the world to me. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video.